Hey everybody, welcome back once again to Putting on the New You, where we are truly learning how to transform our lives through our spirit. My name is Melvin, and once again I want to say thank you for tuning in today. And if you have not seen the previous videos, please do yourself a favor, go to our YouTube page, subscribe, check those videos out, because the way I'm doing these teachings, I'm building upon each concept one right after the next. So as we get into each teaching, if you have not been following along, please go back, check out those other videos, not only on YouTube, but the other social media platforms. And hopefully, it'll be beneficial to you. But again, thank you once again for checking everything out. Let's get into the next lesson. So the previous lesson, I was speaking to you about how potting soil is similar to our spirit, how this soil is equipped with everything that a seed would need to give life, to give support, to give stability to the growth and support, and not only to the growth and support, but the livelihood of the seed that's planted in the soil. So I also mentioned that our spirit does the exact same thing for us. Now, as we were talking about the spirit, I started out the video giving a little bit of analogy, talking about how we have physical eyes, but what is seen behind those eyes, and we have ears, and what hears behind those ears, and we have a mouth, and what is it that's actually speaking behind our mouth? And we determine that it is our spirit. So now, let's take this a step further. Look at the physical body, for example. The physical body has what we call the 5 physical senses. We have our sight, we have hearing, we have smell, we have taste, and we have touch, right? Hopefully I covered off on all 5. If I forgot one of them, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? So those are called what I like to refer to as sensory mechanism. What that means is it allows for us to interact with the world. If I touch a hot stove, my body has signals that tell me, hey, don't do that because you're going to burn your skin off. Okay? If I jump in a cold swimming pool, my skin is designed to let me know that the water has a cold temperature, right? If I taste food that's really good, my body can sense that and it knows, hey, this is some really good food. Or if it's terrible, I'll spit it right back out because it's nasty, right? So those are the ways in which our physical body, this shell that we live in the second video actually, where I talked about the computer and how the computer has a chassis, this body is our chassis. It contains the real you. So this body is equipped to receive what I call input. It receives information from the external world so that we're able to interact and be able to make good decisions, so that as we live in the world, we don't do things like hold our hand over a flame, because otherwise you'd burn your hand off. Something needs to tell you, hey, don't do that, right? So just like our body has sensory mechanisms, so does your spirit. Now you may be asking yourself, what are the sensory mechanisms of my spirit? How does my spirit interact? Well, in another teaching, I'm going to get into where the spirit actually is, where it lives, and how it interacts with the entire world that we live in. But for now, let's just focus on the sensory mechanisms of the spirit. For example, your spirit has eyes. You may be wondering, I've never seen my spiritual eyes. Well, I'm going to ask you to do something for me. Close your natural eyes and think about a blue sky. Now, with your natural eyes closed, if you followed along, whatever a blue sky looks like to you, inside of your mind, you saw an image, right? Those were the eyes of your spirit that allowed you to formulate that image, to see inside your mind, even though your natural eyes were closed, a blue sky. Let's take it a step further. Think about whatever your favorite song may be. It doesn't matter what genre of music. It could just be a sound that you like. It could be a conversation that you like. I want you to take a moment and think about that song. You could have just gone to the grocery store and heard that song playing and gotten into your car, and it could have been hours from when you first heard the song, but you still have it playing inside, right? What's causing that? That is what I like to refer to as the ears of your spirit or your inner ears. You can hear sound inside yourself, even if your physical ears, you put headphones on or you close them off, right? Think about another thing. I want you, without moving your mouth, to say your name. Ready? Go. Okay, if you followed along, you were able to say your name, even though your physical mouth was closed, right? That was the voice of your spirit. Now notice, as you followed along with each one of these things, you were able to formulate sound, imagery, and we didn't get into this, but you will also be able to discover that you can add emotion to the sensory mechanisms of your spirit, and that creates an experience, right? So, now that we've discovered that the spirit has sensory mechanisms, let's think about, where does the spirit live and what determines what gets put into your spirit? What determines, like when I was discussing this jar of soil, who decides what seed gets sown into the soil so that it grows? Who makes that decision? Now, what I want to leave you with is a scripture from the Bible that says, keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it springs the issues of life. Think about that for a second. What does that mean, to keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it flows the issues of life? The word heart there, in case you didn't know, is referring to your spirit. What determines what goes into your spirit? Now that you know your spirit is able to process input, where does that input come from, and what determines if that input gets into your spirit or not? We'll talk about that in the next video. My name is Melvin Nix once again. Thank you so much for tuning in to Putting on the New You. I look forward to our next talk. Have a great day.